Welcome to the Commando Cast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Andrew. And this weekend is the Galactic Qualifier up in Redmond, Washington. Mike is going, so today we're pop quizzing him about all the decks and what he thinks he's going to see. All right, guys, welcome back to episode 29 of the Commando Cast. So, Mike, how was Destiny this week?
Super good. Made Gongai again, which is always super cool. You and I got to actually, for the first time, I feel like the first time in a while, we got to meet at the final table. Yep. We were both undefeated.
So what were you playing?
Tarkin Snoke. What were you playing?
Tarkin Snoke. So we actually, those videos are going up this week from last weekend, and we actually decided to not record the final because who wants to see a Tarkin Snoke mirror match?
Yeah,
so we went with something more fun. Amy got to play Enzo, so that was a really good game. But yeah, so Mike and I met in the finals. I ended up eking it out, but that's only because I got the bubble shield when I needed it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It was as soon as we sat down, I said, "This is going to be a who gets their bubble shield first off," and he got his bubble shield and his mega blasters.
Yeah. Well, my Fickle hit the 2 disrupt turn 1, and that was pretty much the beginning of the end from Hike.
But good. It was a good game of we always seem to play pretty good games. So
no, it was great. And then Monday Night Dice, we did another limited or restricted.
Yeah, limited standard, and it was. I thought it went really good. People are starting to adjust to that playstyle, though, and just like, okay, well, I'll just run one copy of every broken card instead of 2. And
just kind of power through it.
Yeah, power through it. So it was still, it did what I wanted it to do. We're actually going to go to regular standard the week after, and then per your request, I have added a theme to the week after, so we'll be able to go over that theme as we get closer to it. So
all right. Great. All right, so we're going to cut right to it because we expect this to be a little longer than normal. We have a plan to keep it shorter, but so this weekend, Mike's headed up to Redmond for the Galactic Qualifier along with about a bajillion and a half other people.
Right.
So what I want to do is I want to basically give Mike a bunch of flashcards on what decks he could see. And how we're going to do this is I've got my handy phone here. I have it set to 90 seconds because I think that's about the amount of time that you have from the time that you sit down. Your opponent whips out their characters, you put it out there, and then you have to do your setup and start to figure out what you're going to do to mulligan. So I'm going to give Mike 90 seconds to kind of talk about the strengths and the weaknesses of each deck, and then how he would incorporate that into his general plan.
And how to attack.
Or defend, whatever, right?
Right?
I mean, and to be clear, this is in general. We're not revealing what Mike's bringing for obvious reasons. We don't want to give his deck list. We don't want to give any tricks away. So this is just a general theory of what's the deck do well, what does it not do well, and how do you want to disrupt that.
Sure. Let's get started. I'm ready.
All right. So I've broken this down into 3 tiers. The first tier A, is the primary threats. Then we'll go through tier B, which is basically it could beat you on any given day.
Right.
And then we have tier C, which is not likely to beat you, but damned if there aren't some good pilots who know how to run those decks.
Kind of a wild card slot,
right.
I would say. Yeah.
So if you run up against the right person running the right deck, could still be a threat. All right. So my phone just went to sleep. I got to wake it back up.
Technology.
Yep, technology. All right, so 90 seconds go from the minute we flip to it. So first up is Tarkin Snoke.
Okay, so the strengths of Tarkin Snoke, I would say it rams consistently due to the die sides on both characters. Also, the tons of focus, and it puts out consistent damage. No matter what's showing on its dice, that's definitely what its strengths. I would say vulnerabilities are it's really weak to mass removal of Tarkin's dice early in the game. Late in the game, it doesn't matter, but early in the game, if you can get Tarkin off his dice, it really causes that deck problems.
So if you're playing against this, you want to try and mulligan. If you have yellow, you want to try and mulligan for those entangles, right? That entangle doesn't matter if you can't ramp. Keeping them off that first turn, Snoke is really good.
Yeah, and there's been times when I've been playtesting our version. We have separate versions, but they're getting closer. But where I have lost my Tarkin dice round 1 to either an entangle or an easy pickings, and it really put me. It actually won a few games. I wasn't even able to Tarkin power action for that round, which is super hurtful, right? You want to be able to ramp and do his power action round 1.
Yeah, and just to be clear, right, we've said this a million times before, but if they roll out their Tarkin 2 discard, you have to control it.
That is the most dangerous side on those dice. It's early game.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. So, all right. So, yeah, I mean, I like this deck because of its flexibility primarily. I mean, there's not much else to say there. It's just it can do whatever you want it to do at the right period of time. So you have to keep it off of its ability to do that.
What I like about it is the flexibility of it. It really does. It does what it does well, no matter what its die side show. It really doesn't care. It's one of those it's one of those decks that it doesn't care what it rolls, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's attractive to.
Well, I mean, within reason. And then the worst, as an opponent, the worst thing you can see is Tarkin rolling out with a 2 discard and his dollar side, because then what do you do?
Yeah,
right?
you're getting
unless you have entangle.
One way or the other, you're in trouble.
Yeah. So, all right. Pretty much that's it for that, right? All right. So moving on to the next one. I had previously set it for an hour and 30 minutes. So it's now set for 90 seconds.
We were way ahead of schedule.
So we're doing well. All right. Next is Watt Towson. 90 seconds. Go.
Okay. Watt Towson. Its strength is Watt. You should kill Watt.
Kill Watt.
Immediately. Towson is a head fake. Don't fall for it. Don't kill Towson. It doesn't matter, okay? Kill Watt.
What about Watto? He makes your money.
It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Watto's going to make money, and he's going to play, like, entourage stuff. Use your removal to get rid of the dice as they come in. Don't worry about, just kill Watt, for goodness sakes.
Right.
The double focus side on him is the most important side.
Well, and letting him roll in. I mean, there's a lot of... So Amy's been playing this, and she'll get money. You only need $1 to get an entourage. You drop an entourage, you power action it with Watt, you use Towson to flip it to its 2 money, you entourage again.
Right.
I mean,
it's pretty sick. So obviously it ramps really hard, and then late game, if allowed to, it will roll in many supports and then focus on a max damage and murder you. Like that's it. And its weaknesses are it's a little light in the loafers, I think. But people who are playing it people who really sell out to the odd package can get a lot of mileage out of witch magic. Right. That's its main key. So if you can get the witch magics. And I can
run Bubble Shield too, right?
Yeah, I do think if you can hit Watt quickly and hard, it does kind of fall. I think it is not near as good because at the end of the game, they can make all the money they want, but it won't matter because Watto's 2 dice can't focus the die.
All right, that's time. Finish your thought.
All right, I'm good. That's it.
All right, fair enough. All right, next deck. Oh, I do just want to point out that 3 wides are one of Tarkin Snoke's weaknesses, so this one's actually a really good matchup for Tarkin Snoke.
Yes.
All right, next we have Snoke Watto First Order Stormtrooper.
Okay.
A lot of the same things apply.
Yeah, it's same sort of thing. It ramps really hard. What I like about this deck is early game, if they don't kill the First Order Stormtrooper, then after you've ramped and created enough value, you can start snoking the First Order Stormtrooper. Yeah. And also it allows you to do some pretty nasty best defense plays where you get to 6 damage and then best defense, which is ultimate value. So super strong, lots of focus on the Snoke dice.
What's the weakness of this deck? How do you attack it?
You have to hit its hand. Like for me, when I play this deck, I have to try to discard as much as possible. I will take when I'm playing Tarkin Snoke. The side I want the most in that case is the discard side. So for me, that's how I attack that deck, as I hit its hand.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. All right. Next we have. Oh, did well on that one.
Yeah.
All right.
I've seen a lot of that deck. It's really honestly there's not a whole lot you can do with that one. Because of Watto's ability, it runs. If I remember right, it runs single die Watto, right?
Single Watto.
Yeah. So.
Who's super ineffective, but Snoke can flip.
Right, Snoke can flip. And that power action really pays a lot, because it can power action the First Order Stormtrooper die 50% chance of damage, or itself 50% money. So,
all right, well, now we're out of time.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, next one. Yoda Leia Mill. And I have it pictured here with Astrogation. I think that's the best play right now. But
no, I totally agree. Good Lord in heaven. Strength is this thing mills like just a raging lunatic. Like it, I have never seen a deck mill as quickly as it does. It does struggle a bit at the end of the game if you could take out Leia quickly enough.
Absolutely.
So
run those wing guards, right?
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is I don't know people are playing wing guards in them, but I think that if people really start learning how to play it and killing Leia, then I think the Bespin wing guard will be an important strength. So it defends itself well. And it mills really fast. I think its weaknesses are it has a low health pool. If it uses healing spells, if it uses healing events, then a lot of times it can't be it can't run removal. So you have to kill Leia first, and then so that's its only. To me, that's really its only weakness. I think it seriously dies to hard aggro though. Like if this deck sits down across from someone who's only interested in
Phasma Troopers or even Tarkin Snoke pretty much chew this up, right? So.
In Tarkin Snoke is an aggro type deck, right? It does a bunch of damage quickly, so that's if it has a vulnerability. I think the trick is if you're going to play against this deck, you have to get dice on the table, and then don't
at any cost. Don't be afraid of Occupied City, right?
Unless the dice doesn't do damage or focus dice.
Well,
right, but don't be afraid of Occupied City.
That's time. Finish your thought.
Dang it, no, good, go.
All right, Vader TTB Droid Retribution, the hardest hard aggro. Right.
Yeah. So the strength of this deck is just really consistent, hard to deal with damage sides, and Retribution I think is the most powerful part of the entire package, because with Retribution it messes up your math on the value of your removal. So you could remove a 2-side from Vader. Well, you should never remove a 2-side, by the way. But you could remove a 4-side from a Vader, right? Because you don't want to get Fear and Dead Men. Remove it, you take a damage. You still did something. He's going to roll it back out. And if you don't have something to deal with that again, let's say he rolls the 3, he hits you for 4, you gained nothing from that. From that removal.
My take on it is unless you are prepared to remove 3 dice, like you can remove one of his dice and then best defense it, and actually even that's a bad example because best defense makes you take damage, right? But unless you have some way to get rid of 3 dice, I think you just don't remove dice, which is, as a person playing this deck, is huge because you don't really lose your dice. Yeah. Right?
I take him off the 4 if I can.
Sure.
That's really the only die I will remove and it sucks because you're just sitting there and if they roll well, you die. Like, that's the deck. So that's the strength. Weaknesses...
Indirect.
You think so? Like, because the truth...
Tarkin Snoke can put up 15 on turn 1 without much of blinking an eye.
And the droid only has 6. Right? And I think if you can... And I know this is a weird thing, but if you take out the droid...
Time, finish your thought.
God, if you take out the droid before it can play best defense, that's another good play.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Dang it, that's quick.
Next. 90 seconds. All right, Palp Watt.
Okay.
Control Force Storm.
Right. So... its main strength is its win condition, which is play lots of events, and then ramp to Force Storm is also its survival condition, which is a really strange confluence of cards. So that's its main strength, is it does what it does well, and it helps it survive until eventually it goes out of control. Watt has focus sides, which help turn the die. The main problem with the entire deck as far as an opponent are the focus sides. So if you're going to control something, I prefer to, if I can control the focus sides, I will control it and take a Force Storm, because it's the focus that caused the problem, right? 2 focus into special into 2 focus.
You'll take a Force Storm 3 or
2, obviously, right? Yeah, I won't take a Force Storm for the loss. There are cards, by the way, that get rid of Force Storm. Like you can play
Law and Order.
That's the one I was looking at too. Yeah, Law and Order is a 3 cost. Just spot a red character, discard an upgrade, right?
Seems pretty good. Seems pretty good if you're running red.
Its vulnerability really is in... Dude, there's not a lot of vulnerabilities to this deck. Like, this deck is a beast. I think if you can... People are going so heavy into Force Storm, I think if you could attack their hand and get their Force Storms, you win this game.
Otherwise, it just dirtles.
Yeah, its only offensive weapon at this point is Force Storm.
Yep.
The way people are building it. So, how do you do?
Just hit time right now. So, all right. Next, we have...
I need some beer.
Phasma Troopers, my personal favorite right now. Deck type. Hardest aggro.
So, this thing will pump out damage on nasty rolls. If this deck does not deliver 8 damage round 1, the pilot did something wrong. Or they took money, which is still not a problem, right? So... Super hard aggro. It comes at you with its sides. What I think is interesting is with the advanced training in Phasma, you can resolve the blanks as 1 indirect, and her ability piggybacks to make that 1 direct. So all the blanks actually count as direct damage.
Correct.
So there are ways to get around that. You can play what's the card? The blue remove 2 blanks.
Undermine,
right? That's
another one of my favorites.
Right, yeah, that's a good way to deal with this deck. I think if it has a weakness, it's the fact that it's running mono, which its tools
has 19 health.
Right, it has 19 health. So if Phasma goes down, the deck just
that's fair. The deck really, if you're playing it on a straight damage deck, it actually only has 12.
Oh.
right?
Okay.
Because you kill Phasma and it's
Right,
over.
right. Well, and
I mean, yeah, there's other tricks.
so if you're playing, again, a lot of this is if you're playing Yellow Hero, which not people are, but when your opponent with Phasma gets to 4 resources, if you Scruffy for support, I think that really hurts this deck. Because you are trying to play for Mega Blasters, right? I mean, that's the whole point of the deck.
All right, in 5 seconds left, I just want to say, if they have 2 money, you watch for Pulverize.
Oh my gosh.
You watch for Pulverize,
Yeah.
right? Do not
Remove
forget
something.
about Pulverize. All right, next we have, that's the end of Tier A.
Okay.
All right,
give me a
so
sec.
let's take a little bit of break. So again, in Tier B, know your matchup. The idea is that these are not necessarily decks that you have to sit down and worry about every time, but you better know what you're doing going in, otherwise it can get you by surprise, right? The Tier A decks, I think, can pretty much sit down and minus the rock, paper, scissors type matchup, win anything. Mm-hmm. These, I think you have to make sure you know what you're doing, otherwise you're dead, but
Right.
you'll probably be okay. So, all right, well, once you hit restart, it starts, so. Yeah.
Okay. I still want
All
to
right.
buzz.
All right,
Sorry.
Jin Cassian. I think Jin Cassian's in a good spot. I think there's others in the community that agree with me. So what do you do when you're playing Jin Cassian?
I would say you control Cassian's die. Like, that to me is the most hurtful part of the deck because they do something plus something. Mm-hmm. Whereas Jin, so you kill Jin, you control Cassian's dice, I guess is what I'm...
Oh, you think you kill Jin first?
I kill Jin first, yeah. I don't...
I've played, as someone playing this, I think you kill Cassian.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Why, is it because of the removal of the spot yellows or what?
It's just because his dice are so impactful. And if you're playing stuff, I mean, they're generally milling here, right? So if you're playing stuff to remove his dice, like you're still kind of advancing their win condition, even though it's not as hard.
Yeah, that is true. I suck against this deck. This deck rips me up.
Yeah, I think you go for Cassian if you can. The other thing is you don't want to go for Jin because they play first aid, and like you put 4 damage into Jin and they heal it, and that sucks.
So I will say this: I think one of the main strengths of this deck is the strategic removal that Jin has. So like you mentioned to me, like you actually feel comfortable
Slice and dice, baby.
in a mill matchup because you can look at the 3 cards and take the only one that's going to even affect you, right? And then leave them with the rest.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, you have to do that intelligently because, as I've mentioned before, like if you look at Jin and you set them up for a bad draw, but then you mill the next 4 cards. You may as well just discard the top card of their deck. So, and that's the other reason I think Cassian is more valuable because you get Cassian out first, do his thing, and then try to draw Jin in.
That's good. That's good to know.
But
I just think it's any vulnerabilities it has. Is it just it? Well, I don't know, man. It used to be really bad at finishing games, but
yeah, it seems to do
not
okay.
anymore. It does
All right,
fine.
that's time.
All right.
Moving on. All right, Padme Saw, and we'll Padme X this.
Padme, yeah, and I think Padme Leia probably falls into the same.
Right.
So its main strengths are, it does a lot of damage quickly.
It rolls for 12.
It rolls for 12, right? It has what's the card that's the play yellow, resolve a die, and then ambush.
Oh, impulsive.
Impulsive, yeah. So that's its main strength is the impulsive play. Right. Like it will just let you think you're fine, and then you're dead.
Right. Or it has multiple cards that will let you resolve indirect as direct, and all of a sudden you think you could spread it around, and you just lost your key guy.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think that is the main strengths of this deck. Vulnerabilities, I'd say, is when Padme. She's funny. She's the lighter character, but when she dies, the deck has a really hard time, unless your opponent has built the deck to really leverage Saw's ability.
Yeah, which I think is a trap.
Yeah.
I agree. This deck really falls hard to aggro, and it doesn't have that many dice because you're resolving all of your dice, right? Like I even find it hard to get the ship into play, so it really suffers with control.
Right. And I think that's because Padme is so easy to kill. You have to use your money and your cards to defend her, and then you're not able to ramp as well. Yeah, it doesn't have tricks like Villain does to make money quickly. So that's its main vulnerability.
All right, didn't even hit it. So next we have... So Kylo Dooku. I put in Know Your Match. I know it could be debatable. But
educate me here, bro, because I haven't played this too much.
So I mean, I haven't either. It's got hand control and damage, right? So it's one of those things where like it could very easily make you lose 4 cards out of your hand and deal 6 to 8 damage.
So I played this deck. I played against this deck in a tournament, and I believe Daniel was running it. And I killed Dooku as quick as possible, just because I had a lucky shot on him. Like I did indirect, he did
9 health is not a lot.
5, right? Indirect, and then I had a card that let me do +2 damage because I had more red cards. I don't know why.
Intense Fire.
Intense Fire, yeah, in hand. So I was able to pick off Dooku without with before he could do anything about it, and that really hurt that deck. Like it doesn't, because it's an aggro deck. It only has 3 spots for cards, right? So it isn't like a wide support that can get out a bunch of dice.
Right.
Once you take out one character, you've cut its dice potential in half. So, but its strengths are it has a lot of sticks and it discards card out of your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is a huge threat. But if you ran up against it, you played it wrong, or you had a really good pilot against you, I think you could be in trouble.
I've heard it 6-0 to qualify.
That's why I bumped it up from tier 3 to this one. I mean, it looks pretty good, right? So
okay,
all right, fair enough. All right, next up we have Kess Rex.
Okay, so this is
so you've played this or something similar.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. So this thing does because you're the main strength of this deck, is you play military camp, and Red Hero now has access to a couple ways to cheat dice, and so Seize the Day is like the main tool.
Isn't that it?
Yes, that's correct. Seize the Day. But Kess's ability to allow you to use focus and then do damage, because it allows you to do all troopers, right? All trooper dice.
Conscript Squad.
Yeah, they've given tools now to Kess that aren't just his character dice or Rex. I was running Finn with the Allies of Necessity plot, but actually, in hindsight, I think Rex is probably as good or better.
Rex is better.
Yeah, than Finn. I just wanted to play with it, right. But. So it's a hard aggro, super strong. It'll just blow your dudes off the table, and it's super fast. So it's if it has any vulnerability, it can roll bad.
So I find that its vulnerability is it doesn't have money, right? So like if like usually one disrupt seems like a really bad trade, but one disrupt's not a bad deal in this deck. Kess's 3-side really seems to stink.
Yeah. What you'll find is this deck, the way I play it is I will play Conscript Squad round 1 to leave myself with a resource, and then I will do the power. I'll do the action on the military camp, get them all out there, and it leaves me for the 1. So if you can take that 1, it really gives Kess an extra blank, which is a super impactful. On there, so I would say that's probably one.
I think disrupt's a good thing.
If you can survive it,
if
you can survive it immediately, I think towards the end of the game you will outdamage this deck.
Okay, fair enough. All right, next we have Billionaires.
Okay, I actually played this deck against this deck a lot. So its strengths are it mills you really consistently throughout the game from all different directions, and then Lorsan Tekka can actually recur removal events, right? So, and it makes a ton of money, hence the name Billionaire. So that's its strength. I will give you a pro tip here. The most important character in this entire deck is Jar Jar Binks. Kill Jar Jar. Yeah, kill Jar Jar round 1, and I'll tell you why. Satine does not have any discard sides, right? Jar Jar has 1 on each die, so her focus sides can turn lures, and Jar Jar sides to discard, and that's how the deck finishes the game. And his ability is just annoying as all get out. So I kill Jar Jar first, the deck falls apart.
But his ability is probably generally worth a card from your opponent's
Jar Jar's,
hand, right? Yeah, because you get to damage, he makes you. Right. You can get lucky, I suppose. But
yeah, so that's kind of how I play it, as I kill Jar Jar first, then I feel like the deck kind of falls apart. It sucks. It's a hard deck to deal with because Lore has 10 hit points for his cost, and that ability to recur with a 2 focus side, that's a really strong character.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. All right. Next, we have...
That one was quick because I know how to play that one. I played a lot.
Fair enough. All right, next we have Infus Marauder. So the reason I put this one in is because we've been having a lot of problems with it in our local meta.
Had a lot of problems with it.
Well, I don't mean in a negative way, but it just has a ton of health, and it's a 3-wide, and it can spread indirect around, and it's just a tank, right?
Yeah, 33 health because it has to run. It has to run no allegiance.
Well, actually, it doesn't have to. These guys add up to 30.
Right. But you do run.
I mean, why would you not for 3 health?
Right. Yeah. So it is. Its main thing is it's really hard to kill, and then I think it slowly ramps. But it's doing ping damage early part of the game, helping itself ramp, and then mid game is when it really does a lot of damage. I think is like
turn 2-3.
Yeah, turn 2-3. As soon as it's able to get an entourage on the board, right. Actually, I think Hired Muscles is a pretty nasty card with this as well, because her power action states resolve. I think it's Scoundrel dice that have the same symbol, right? So even though that has all pay sides, you could actually resolve it for free with her if you so desire. And then what we found is early on it had a lot of problems with the consistency, but as Eric has shown, he solved that problem with some very savvy cards.
Yeah.
That turn
well, it's got Rendezvous Rendezvous is the one you pay, but it's got for a price and Emulate.
Yeah.
And that's 4 cards out of your deck that flip. Now it doesn't have any focus, but again, so you got to kill Emphas first, but that's quite the challenge. She's 13 health.
And I think the deck functions pretty well even after Emphas goes down, because at that point you've already built your board
and then
state.
You don't need money anymore, and now you can pay for
so
the Marauder.
it's tough. I would say take this thing's
spot.
money like when you can to keep it off the ramp.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, next we are in the...
wait. Stop right there.
Okay.
I noticed you did not put Phasma Messenger.
Phasma Messenger I do not have, yeah.
Yeah, so
right,
tell me...
Phasma Messenger real quick.
Let's talk about Phasma Messenger, and I have played this deck and I want to have you play it, because you were the resident Phasma player. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on Phasma Messenger?
So I haven't actually tried it. I've bindered it. I haven't played it.
Okay.
Because advanced training is so good.
Okay. So the strengths of... I will just hit... Because I've seen a lot of this one played. The strength of Phasma Messenger is Vader's Fist. Right? So that's the...
How are you affording this?
Well, you don't spend any money, right? Because you don't care. Like, you're just rolling in a bunch of dice, and then it gives you the extra card draw for the messenger, basically. So you get to look at the top card and play it. You get access to Forsaken, Hidden Motive, like your ability. You also can run automated defense. So I think that the removal suite becomes much easier to play, and then because of that, you could end up playing Vader's Fist towards the end of the game, and then you can also play Imperial Officer, which turns Vader's Fist to the side of your choice. And you can use...
And you're still playing Megas, right?
Yeah, you're still playing as... And on the Vader's Fist, her ability allows you to do the 4 indirect on the fist as melee damage. It increases the value of that. So that... and I have had a really hard time beating that deck, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. Maybe I'll give it a shot.
Hand attack is probably to try to keep it off its big cards, because it isn't able to run advanced training anymore, right. And it's not able to run.
And it's retribution.
It's retribution, right? Yeah. So. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
Fair enough. All right. So now we are in Tier C, the Beware of Pilot, and I do have to say to our Dice of Failure guys, shots fired, gentlemen.
Sorry, guys.
2 of these decks are added in there because we highly suspect you're going to be bringing it. But we'll see. We'll see. Right. All right. So first off, I have Afra droids, and this is really an Afra X because there's like a bajillion and a half Afra versions out there. I actually think the AON version that runs 2 droids and Grievous is probably the best one because that's a lot of health, and you don't really need the money. But Afra. So ready? Go.
Okay, so Afra is not the problem in these decks, right? If you can somehow spike Afra off the table, first action round 2, you do it, right? But the problem is if you take 2 rounds to get her off the board, she's already pretty much done what you asked her to do.
I agree. Once her droids are on the table, she's...
Right. Yeah. Then she's just spot yellow fodder, right, at that point. So as far as its strengths, it just does the ping and the ramp, her ability to just get droids come out. Her point cost, thank God it's 11, right? Because I think if she was made now, she probably would be 11.
She'd be a 10 now,
probably.
probably.
She'd be a 10 now. So this deck is vulnerable. This deck suffers to, I think, mill, unless the Afra player has specifically teched for mill.
Which most of them do.
Right, because they know how vulnerable they are to mill, right? Because it's so bad. If you take 000 out of this deck, off the table in this deck...
Oh, off the table. Yeah. Why would they not?
No, I'm saying like as a opponent, if I can get 000 off the table, the power of this deck drops.
Yeah, but I mean, not planetary bombardment. The one that you take, everybody takes 2 interruptions. Climate disruption away. Yeah, I mean, everyone's playing at least one of those, right? So.
It's very good. I actually saw a new version of this today on another podcast, and I don't want to take their thunder, but go check out Airbook Gaming. They had a really cool Afra list today. So.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, 3 seconds left, but I think we're done. So, all right, next we have Qui-Gon Satine Bandolier. I know you played this. Did not have a good go of it.
Did not have a good go of this. So, this thing tanks like a mother. It tanks hard. Its strength, I think, is also its weakness. Satine's ability to explode with focus, like its ability to fix Qui-Gon's dice, right? Because his dice suck, right, for doing damage.
For doing damage,
right? Great for healing itself. So Also, because it's allowed to play a bunch of cards on Qui-Gon due to the custom-made Delir, it can use back to tank. So it's like the hero palp.
Right. And to be clear, this does play Lightsaber Mastery as well. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, correct. Right. Yeah, it does. Yeah. So if it has a vulnerability, I found was that Qui-Gon's dice suck. So if my opponent was savvy enough to spike Satine off the table, I had the worst time.
I see.
Because you run a lot of spot yellow cards because you don't expect your opponent to
go after Satine.
So that's really the problem.
Go after Satine is what you're saying.
Go after Satine, if you want to attack this deck, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Because Qui-Gon can only hold 3 shields unless he's playing defensive teaching.
Yeah, I think most do.
Right. But so you just let him get
you run out of space in that deck real quick.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. All right, next is Shadowcaster Reset.
Okay, so this is a fact.
This is still a deck.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't see this deck at all anywhere.
People are bored with it, but it's still a deck.
Yeah, so the strength of this deck is that it ramps, because it runs AR, right? Armored Reinforcement. This is your maybe early new listeners, but because it runs that, its ability to go get the Shadowcaster, you only need 1 resource off a character pairing that has
two characters with 2 resources.
Right, yeah. And then another character with 2 dice with focus, right, yeah. So it will get its money. It's like...
And it plays Logistics and the one with Leia on it, Motivate.
Yeah, it's definitely like the pimp of Shadowcaster. It's going to get its money, I promise you. So that strength, and then the Rebel Engineer able to go get the mods.
R2.
In play, right, yeah. R2 is the... So... this deck kind of sucks. The vulnerabilities of this deck, I think, are vandalized.
The one big one?
Right, the one big one. So, smart players who run this deck do not just run Shadowcaster now. Now they usually run 1N1, 1 Falcon, 1 Shadowcaster.
And you're talking 4-drop Falcon? Or Big Falcon? Now that we've seen this last week,
well,
we kind of love the Big Falcon.
Here's the thing, is if I play for Shadowcaster and I get it, and then I make a bunch of money and my opponent hasn't killed me, I want to be able to play that next card.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm going to get to play the Big Falcon.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's 4-drop Falcon.
So you have to attack this deck with it. Like, if you don't have a way to deal with that vehicle, you're
or
in
you can, if you're feeling a little more risky, try the Marauder version where you can also play Fire Spray. So
I actually really like that. I think that's super cool. It's still a 4-drop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just as hard to remove off the board. Yeah, thank God they didn't make Shadowcaster. I know it's weird, but if they made Shadowcaster 5, would have never been able to get off the table.
Shadowcaster probably should have been 5.
Yeah. So I will say this. If you're in a position where you can't get it out off the table, if you can get the R2 off the board, that's another strong play.
That is probably a more realistic use for your Vandalize, right?
So there you go.
All right, fair enough. All right, next one we have Han Biggs Falcon, another vehicle AR mod deck.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't get its money as easily.
Right.
Its strengths are it action sheets like nobody's business. So it has access to Seize the Day now,
Instigate,
and Drop In.
Yep.
Right. So it has 6 tools, and it will cheat you into the ground.
But do note, you don't ever want to let them have their battlefield because of drop in, right?
Yes.
Because there's no way to trade, or I should say, no good way to trade battlefields right now.
Yeah.
So drop in lets you activate a character with ambush, but if you're on your battlefield, then lets you activate a character, and if you're on your battlefield, it effectively has ambush, right?
So, and its EV is pretty low on the roll off, correct? Because with two effective blanks for Han, and one's across the board.
You should more. Well, it depends who you're playing, but more often than not, you're going to win the battlefield versus this deck. So do not let them have their battlefield.
I would just like to say, if you're facing up against what you think is going to be a fast aggro deck, not letting them have their battlefield is a super should probably be your policy across the board, because they're probably playing military camp. Or they're playing Theed. This deck's probably playing the... what's this play now?
It probably plays either Theed or it plays the one Weta Palace, which is the one from the draft kit, which is basically it's a Theed, but it's like the post-haste Theed, right? You claim, put a resource on it, and then you can power action the resource off.
Yeah, vulnerabilities for this deck, I think if you can, you kill Biggs.
Low health.
Yeah, you kill Spike Biggs off the table.
Absolutely kill Biggs. There's no question about it. Right?
Kill Biggs.
So, which also feels bad with a first turn, first aid, but...
God.
It is
Bless
what it is.
America, are you kidding me?
Right, it is what it is, right?
Think about that.
All right, so next and last, we have... Iden Aggro X, and where Aggro X is either Phasma 2 or Beckett. Right. And we call this one the Daniel Special.
Oh, God, dude. Yeah. So
again, with a good pilot.
Yeah,
dude.
So this, because of Iden as a villain, it actually has access to 4 cheat cards, right? So it does Seize the Day and also Tactical Mastery.
Yep.
I've seen Daniel run this deck, and I have to say the scariest one so far he's come up with is the Phasma 2. That was terrifying.
Because usually with Tactical Mastery, it's like, oh, okay, I finally killed the red character. No.
Oh, no. It has a lot of tools now to roll out a bunch of dice. Like it...
Conscript Squad.
It played Fresh Supplies and a Phasma Blaster round 1. Right? And then it was... And then
Which
it
has redeploy.
And it has Measure for Measure, so it doesn't even care about not having any money for removal, because it'll roll out its dice then, and then just take whatever of the dice is the worst. So
do not underestimate this deck.
Yeah, I'm serious. Like, this deck could, like, literally... If people get hot with this deck, it will murder you.
Drop you into the loser bracket.
Yeah, so strength is just... It does a bunch of damage real fast, and it has a lot of tools to action cheat. Vulnerabilities... I was playing Mill, so it's really hard to say. But I think if I was going to kill a character, I'd probably kill Phasma first, because her special turns from a 2 damage to 3 damage.
And she's lower health.
Yeah, lower health. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the strategy. I also lost to him, but that was the strategy I used. Was I went for Phasma first. I don't know. I mean, just like any of these decks, right? These type of decks, they have a typically lower health pool. They don't have as much, although this runs Riot Shield, but it doesn't have as much ability to. And they're both troopers. Right? So
my god! Yeah.
It doesn't have as much ability to block stuff. Indirect typically does really bad.
Right.
Indirect. The Tarkin Snokes don't do very well, or this deck doesn't do very well against those, but. Again, to be clear on all these Beware of Pilots, we're not saying they're going to win the GQ. Like, that's not what we're saying, but we're saying they could ruin your GQ.
Of the Beware of Pilot decks, this and Han Diggs too, just because I saw Zach, like, from the Dice Affiliate, just murder the field with that deck over and over again. I just feel like if this deck even gets a little hot, it's going to do really well. Also, don't forget, for those of you who are piloting Iden or piloting against Iden, when her dice get in the field, it keeps you from action cheating.
Oh,
I mean, it's weird.
Not as relevant these days,
right? But if you're sitting it across from a deck that is going to, like, so if you're a Han Biggs player and you're Iden, you get Iden's deck in the field, and all of a sudden they can't cheat on you anymore.
Right. Well, it doesn't stop Han Biggs from activating.
Right.
It just no instigate. Yeah, fair enough. All right.
All right.
That is it. That is the end of the list I had for you. Are there any big ones I missed for you guys out there? Are there any big ones we missed? I mean, again, we can't list every possible deck that's out there. We had to cut the line somewhere.
Let me just go over my own. So I had actually, I thought one of the ones of the Beware Pilot one, only because Derek completely just traumatized me. But Grand Mill.
Oh, Villain Leader Mill.
I think is also pretty tough. I'd say if you want to handle that deck, just make them only run 1 no answer. That's
the Deja Vu no answer
play. Right. That deck. I think that deck can be pretty good. I think other than that, I had.
So my hot take on that particular deck is you actually try to attack them and get them to drop their hand, which is really hard to do because they're drawing, but then all of a sudden they're going to realize they don't have any cards left.
You mean attack like their
hand?
Oh, yeah, and that's true of most mill. Like, if you can mill the miller,
that's fair.
Who mills the miller? Then I think you can really, because the
strength
strength is
they're not playing resistance ring. They're counting on having no answer in Deja Vu. Like, that's their play, right? So that means that you have 4 cards in their deck to where if they lose one of them, it's significantly impactful.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember, like, because the version he had Jabba. Mm-hmm. And Wolf.
It's Jabba, Wolf, Newt, and then Separatist Conspiracy.
Right. Oh, Separatist. Okay.
Because you don't care about them for their dice. You're just
right. Yeah. So
and Jabba pulls the events, and
so the target is one of the red characters who's probably going to be carrying the Grand Moff.
The target. I mean, the deck has options because you can put the Grand Moff on either one. You go for Newt, like.
Really?
No, sorry.
No, Wolf.
You go
I was
Wolf.
like,
sorry.
What? Oh, yeah.
Newt is
a trap. Yeah, right. Newt's there to make you mad.
Right. And he does make you mad, but you just take the less money,
right?
Because you're not playing cards anyway, right? So,
yes, you just hope that your character dice are enough. I tell you, that deck's the most dangerous when it gets the Deja Vu in the field, because then it can start doing sick, nasty stuff.
Electroshock. Oh.
I had him do double entangle.
Yep.
Which was awful. Like cleared my board. With
it doesn't and that deck doesn't hurt for money. Like don't waste your time disrupting. Like they're gonna out money your disrupt.
Right, yeah,
it's just not worth it.
Right.
So, all right. So fair enough. So you're headed. Are you playing just Saturday, Sunday? When can people come find you?
I'm gonna play Saturday. I'm gonna play in the trilogy in the morning. I think it's trilogy in the morning, and then the standard in the afternoon, and then
standard second.
I think so.
Ooh,
or one of the other.
That's rough.
I'll have both decks.
I hope standards first, so you're fresh. The trilogy event's pretty. Trilogy's. Isn't there only like 3 decks in trilogy?
Yeah, that's the thing is I don't have to think as hard. Like either I'm gonna get my ramp out or they are, and
right.
like, I'm gonna so. And then
trilogy seems like a good one that you should go visit the bar first. That way, when you get 4-stormed for 19, it's not as painful.
And then in the evening there's a meetup.
You're gonna meet up with Monk.
Yeah, it appears that it's gonna be a pretty big gathering. So hopefully we're getting a bunch of people I haven't met before.
We'll put the. So he had put the invite on the Destiny group, so it's not a secret. So we'll put the invite up right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And go see Monk.
Yeah, come see me. I want to talk to you guys. I'm actually so stoked to see my Washington friends. I can't believe it. Like I've made such good friends up there.
You're friends with the guys?
I know. And there's just the people up there were so welcoming at the Washington one, and I am part of the Puget Sound Destiny group.
Oh, okay.
Right, and they always make me feel welcome. I leave my opinions. You know, they're like, you're not from here or anything. So it's been I really like them. So. Yeah, I'm excited to be with them.
Cool.
Hang out. Hopefully I 6-0 twice.
Well, I can't wait to have that episode.
Yeah. Well, I want to 6-0 the first one.
Just make sure you don't get caught on camera stacking your deck.
Right. I'm going to 6-0 the first one, I hope. And then in the second one, I'm going to be 5-0. And then if the other person is 5-0, then I can scoot.
Nice.
Too.
Get your double world seats.
Yeah.
Just be sitting there.
Right. Yeah. I got 2 chairs, like playing 2 decks at the same time. Suck it.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
All right. Well, great. Well, we'll update you next week on how Mike did.
Yeah, it could be a tale.
Although maybe the entire internet will know.
Right, it could
soon.
be a tale of tragedy. Probably so. I don't know. I think my deck is pretty good. I think it solidly sits in the 4-2-5-1 range, and if I get lucky, then I think it can 6-0.
I think anybody with the field that we have in this region, and I'm not downplaying other regions to be clear, but like based on what we saw at the Portland Regional, if you have relatively the same quality of field and you go in expecting that you're going to go in, and this goes for everybody, not just Mike, right? Mm-hmm. Like if anybody goes into the GQ expecting that they're going to 6-0 and that is like their qualification of success,
nope,
you're going to have a bad day.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I want to win 4 games. Like I think that's if I win 4 games, I'll be very pleased with myself.
Well, what do you need for the spot gloss math? How does that work out?
It's all different now. It used to be you got washed right after 2 losses. I think they let you play it through.
Yeah. That's great now. And then I know like there's different tiers. Like the old spot glosses are cheaper. Yeah.
So if you go 06, you get 6 tickets.
Okay.
Right.
So it's a ticket per game.
Right. And I think it's 12 for the new spot glosses. So what is that math there? I got to win 3. I got to win 3 games. I think. That gets me 6.
That's not bad. I mean, everybody's leaving with something then, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to do 2 of them. So I mean, I'm going to get a couple things, and then if you'll know I'm having a bad day if you see me trying to grind pods for like 1 ticket. If you see me do that, please just give me a ticket so I don't have to embarrass myself and grinding draft pods. Oh my god.
Fair enough. All right. Well, yeah. So I'll be at Gongai this weekend as per normal, and then we'll both be at Monday Dice on Monday. Other than that, if you like what we're doing here, please give us that like, subscribe. Did you have anything else to add?
Go Commando.
Go Commando.